Good morning, readers. I hope you guys are all doing awesome. Today, we are super excited because we get to read one of the most wonderful books called Hooway for Wodney Wat, written by Helen Lester. So I'm going to let you share along with the pictures as we read today. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Minimize me here. All right. So today we're going to read Hooway for Wodney Wat, written by Helen Lester and illustrated by Lynn Mussinger. To my son and hero, Jamie, H.L. Poor Wodney Wat. His real name was Wodney Wat, but he couldn't pronounce his R's. To make matters worse, he was a rodent. A wodent. What's your name, Wodney? Asked the other rodents. Wodney Wat? Whispered Wodney. Oh, what's another name for a bunny? They asked knowingly. Wabbit, he mumbled. What do you notice about the characters in this book? I'm noticing that all of the characters in this book are rodents. Can you think of other rodents besides rats? Some rodents besides rats might be hamsters, mice, and even guinea pigs. Perhaps you've seen one in person in real life before, or maybe you even have one as a pet. All right, let's get back into this book. And how does a train travel? They winked at each other. A twain travels on twain tracks. Oh, Wodney replied miserably. Oh, geez, look at poor little Wodney over here. Look at how the illustrator shows his body. What do you think the illustrator was trying to show you with the way that he's holding his body, the face that he's making? Turn and tell a friend or a stuffed animal. I'm wondering if the illustrator was trying to let us know that he feels really embarrassed. You can almost see his tail kind of tucked around him like he's holding it, and his eyes are closed and his head is down, almost like he's ashamed and sad. All of this teasing day in and day out made Wodney the shyest rodent in his elementary school. His squeak could barely be heard in class. He gnawed lunch alone. And while the other rodents scurried and scooted about at recess, Wodney hid inside his jacket. Wow. Stop and think, or turn and tell a partner or someone sitting next to you, why do you think that Wodney is sitting and hiding inside of his jacket while all of the other friends sit and play on the playground? Then one day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, a new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, "My name is Camilla Capybara. I'm bigger than any of you. I'm meaner than any of you. And I'm smarter than any of you." And then she added, "So there." With that, she accidentally, on purpose, elbowed an ear, bumped two noses, stepped on three tails, and lay down on a desk. Fur prickled in fear through the classroom. She sure was bigger than any of them. She sure looked meaner than any of them. Was she smarter than any of them? "What's 4 plus 4, asked Miss Fuzzleworth. "Or 2 plus 2, asked Miss Fuzzleworth. "4, shouted Camilla Capybara without even bothering to raise her paw. "And furthermore, 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16, and 243 plus 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, "What's the capital of?" Camilla interrupted. "New York, Albany, population 295,594. And during science class, in answer to the question, what part of a plant is below the ground?" Camilla Capybara danced on her desk and sang, "Root, root, rooty toot toot." Yup, thought all the other rodents. She's smarter than we are, too. They felt very, very uncomfortable. Every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from her hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game. Simon Says. She scrunched her eyes closed and jiggled the hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster, Mini Feet Mouse, Grizzlefrit Guinea Pig? Could it be Big, Mean, Smart Camilla Capybara? Miss Fuzzleworth's paw reached in and pulled out the name of Wodney Wat. The bell rang and there was a wild scurry for the door, and Camilla Capybara was the first on the playground, having trampled the others in her path. To Wodney, she looked especially scary. What would she do? When she heard him speak? Would she breathe capybara breath in his face? Or tie him up in his own tail? Or even pounce on him? The tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players, his head well inside his jacket, and squeaked, "Wodney says, read the sign," while the other rodents read, "P.S. 142 Elementary School for Rodents." Camilla began pulling up weeds around the sign and wildly flinging them hither and yon, till she was clear up to her teeth in dirt. The other rodents began to smile. Wodney says, "Wrap your paws around your head." He peeked a little peek out of his jacket and saw whap, whap, whappity, slappity, whap. Camilla was whapping her paws around her head so hard that she became dizzy, gave herself a headache, and had to sit down. The other rodents couldn't help giggling. Oh my goodness. What is Rodney trying to say? And what does Camilla think that he's saying? Wodney says, "Play Wing Around the Rosy." Camilla put her arms like wings and made an airplane noise. "No." But where was the wosy? What was a wosy? Oh my goodness. Can you understand the difference about what Wodney means and what comes out of his mouth? Can you find the humor in what Camilla is thinking that he's saying? By now, Wodney's voice was stronger and his head was entirely out of his jacket. "Wake the leaves!" Nobody moved. Wodney says, "Wake the leaves!" While Harry, Minifeet, and Grizzlefritz and the other busied themselves raking, Camilla Capybara grabbed one leaf. "Wake up!" she yelled. She snatched another. "Come on, you! Up, up, up!" And another. "Rise and shine!" And another. Boo! By now, all of the other rodents were squealing with laughter. All but Camilla, who frowned. Silly leaves, they won't wake up. And why was everyone laughing at her? Oh, such bullies! In a voice so strong he had to hold his own ears, Wodney called, "Wodney says go west!" The rodents collapsed in a happy heap for a rest. Go west. What do you notice about how Wodney's acting now? Has he changed? Camilla Capybara, feeling very smart that she could tell directions by the sun, said, "All right, I shall go west." And then she added, "So there." West she stomped forever. She was gone. And from that day on, the perils of PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Wodney again. He was their hero. "Hooway for Wodney Wat," they cried. "Woot woot, wooty toot toot." Wow, what a great ending to this story for little Wodney Wat. Turn and tell your partner, how did Wodney Wat change from the beginning of this story to the end of the story? Can you think? Can you think about how Wodney Wat has changed in this story? What do you think the author's message was for us, the reader, in this story? Wodney was different from others. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? Turn and tell someone. Tell a stuffed animal, or think aloud outside of your head. What did the author want you to understand after you finish the story? I think that the author wanted us to know, right, that everyone's different. And differences can be really wonderful and powerful and really important for all of us. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful story, Hooway for Wodney Wat, written by Helen Lester. Talk to you soon.